Mary had a little man.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
It's like an insane clown Posse concert up there on Capitol Hill.
We see Hunter Biden appearing at the Capitol, just walking through the door. It looks like he's surrounded with his Secret Service team there and other members of his entourage. But he is officially at the Capitol as these hearings get underway. We're looking at live images right now as he goes through, it appears, the metal detector or nearby the metal detectors. We presumably expect him to enter at least one of these committee rooms because, again, this is before the Oversight Committee, also action happening in the Judiciary Committee. We're just going to follow these cameras and Hunter Biden and see where he's going to head, what's going to happen next. Again, he wasn't expected to show up for these hearings from the sense of he wasn't called by the people holding these hearings to appear. So he's choosing to be there. I want to bring in former Assistant Manhattan District Attorney Catherine Christian and federal and white-collar criminal defense attorney Caroline Polisi as we continue to watch these images. It appears his attorney, Abby Lowell, is right there alongside him, ladies. Catherine, what do you think his strategy is here, showing up during these hearings as they contemplate a contempt of Congress vote?
I think it's his way of saying, I will testify. I've always said I will testify. I'm not going to do it in secret. I'm going to do it in public. So that, to me, is his statement that he's making today. He has always said he will testify. He just doesn't want to do it in secret. So it's really hard to argue that he's in contempt because he refused to testify. It's just the forum, secret or in public for everyone to see it.
And that's what his attorneys have argued all along, is he's not defying a subpoena. He's just trying to make sure whatever he said in its full context is before the American public to hear, so that his fear was that the committee members, Republicans, would kind of splice and dice whatever he said behind closed doors and put out partial transcripts that would misconstrue the context.
Question. Do they have like a whole bunch of legal eagles hanging out in the green room at CNN and MSNBC? I get confused because Ana Cabrera, she used to be on the CNN, now she's on the MSN. But apparently they have like a whole closet just full of legal scholars that they can pluck out of the green room at any time they want and just put them on the air, which is very cool. I wish I had that. Wish I did, but I don't. But oh my God, it was like the circus is back in town, everybody. And the clown car is now there's two clown car committees. This is insane what was going up on Capitol Hill. Okay, so you had two committees trying to hold Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress for not appearing. Hunter Biden's not appearing here anymore. For not appearing behind closed doors at the request of, or at the demand of, James Comer's Oversight Committee and Jim Jordan's Judiciary Committee subpoenas. Right? Now, this is very Rich. Not Charlie Rich. Oh, no one knows what goes on behind closed doors. Not that guy. No. Jim Jordan was also, subpoenaed in a previous Congress to appear here, and he didn't appear here. In fact, so many of the people on these committees were subpoenaed, and they never appeared as a result of their subpoenas ordering them to appear. Scott Perry from Pennsylvania, he was subpoenaed. Mo Brooks, remember Mo? Today is the day we take down names. Yeah, him. He was subpoenaed, didn't appear. Jim Jordan, who is now the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, which is like, are we full oligarchy now? Are we full autocracy now? Are we full backward, upside down, Alice in Wonderland through the looking glass now, where a guy who is trying to hold another guy in contempt for not answering a subpoena is also a guy who refused to answer a subpoena and is now the head of the Judiciary Committee. Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell in your ear. But it just, wow. Mo Brooks didn't appear. Jordan didn't appear. Andy Biggs didn't appear. Kevin McCarthy didn't appear. I said McCarthy. I mean, it's like an amazing long list of people who are in violation of subpoenas, and they are in contempt of Congress. And yet, they're in service. Okay, they're actually in. Okay, so today, it takes my breath away at the audacity, the nads, the gall, whatever word you want to insert here. Oh, let's Nancy Mace actually used one of those words that I'm dancing around that. Oh, and they want to impeach, like prostate cancer wasn't enough punishment for General Lloyd Austin. Yeah, having prostate cancer and then getting an infection somewhere in there and having to go back to ICU after, a prostatectomy. I don't know. Isn't punishment enough for a man at 70 years old? No, they want to impeach him too. You know that, right? So they're trying to impeach Alejandro Mayorkas in one committee room. In another committee room, there, you got, what's his name from Montana, introducing an article of impeachment against Lloyd Austin because they want to punish him even further than he's already been punished with the diagnosis of prostate cancer and sepsis. And then you have people who are in violation, they're in contempt of Congress because they didn't answer subpoenas when they received subpoenas from congressional committees, now heading up those same committees. And Hunter Biden is like, yeah, you wanna troll me? I'll troll you. And he walked into the Oversight Committee and actually sat down with his lawyers and wanted them to then ask the questions that they wanted answered by virtue of issuing him a subpoena. And they rejected his testimony because they wanted it behind closed doors so that they could misrepresent whatever it is he testified to. Whatever answers he gave, they wanted to twist them and turn them into, whatever they need them to be because they have no case. Not against Hunter Biden. They have no case against his dad. And what are they going to do? Impeach Hunter Biden? You can't impeach the son of a president, okay? I mean, he's not even, he doesn't serve in any capacity that would, it's so bizarre. But Nancy was like just livid that her little game was up, that it was over, that they called the tune and took away her moment.
First question is, who bribed Hunter Biden to be here today? That's my first question.
Who bribed him?
Second question, you are the epitome of white privilege, coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting in our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls to come up here and...
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman,
if the gentle lady wants to hear from Hunter
things.
Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman. Let's take a vote and hear from Hunter Biden. What are you afraid of?
Hold
on. Order.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Could you keep interrupting me?
Oh, yeah, that's why. It's because, you have a body part and he has a different body part, which you say he doesn't have because, you say he's too afraid. Meanwhile, he's not afraid. He came in. He's staring right at you. He's willing to answer any of your freaking questions. I mean, and it's because she's a woman. It's not because you're a woman. It's because the same committee, that same exact committee, was offered testimony by the guy you want to hold in contempt. 6 times he agreed to testify to you. 6 freaking times. And then when you decide that you're gonna, have some sort of a kangaroo court thing where you're gonna hold him in contempt while people on your committee are also in contempt, it's a joke.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
cuckoo.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no?
Okay.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no?
Order.
Could you keep interrupting me?
I'll interrupt the
You keep
chairman. I don't know
interrupting.
that he's a lady.
I think that that Hunter Biden should be arrested right here, right now, and go straight to jail. Our nation is founded on the rule of law.
Come
And
on.
the premise
Come
that the
on.
law applies equally to everyone, no matter what your last
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Equally?
Point of
It
order.
doesn't matter who you are.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Mo Brooks.
Biggs over here.
Donald Trump Jr.
Biggs over here.
State your point, Mr. Biggs.
Yeah, my point of order is this. Are we going to continue on with this blatant interruption? This is absurd and inappropriate. I intend to give my statement. I don't intend to have anybody interrupted. I'm not going to interrupt your statements. I think you should have decorum and courtesy and don't act like a bunch of nimrods.
You just
Okay, so that man right there, stop acting like a Nimrod. He's also in contempt of Congress. That's Andy Biggs. That's who that is. That is a man who literally is in contempt of Congress. They issued a subpoena for him to come. Subpoena Dukas, take him. And he did not Dukas. He did not take him. He did not show up. Okay? It's so bizarre. And now they're eating each other. Okay? Like Biggs is yelling at Nancy Mace, and Nancy Mace is yelling at James Comer, and James Comer knows the whole thing is a sham and a scam, and so does everybody else sitting on that dais. Every single person, every single Republican that is sitting there knows that every single person that has been subpoenaed by the Democrats during the impeachment inquiry did not show up in response to a congressional subpoena. They know it. Some of them were actually subpoenaed themselves. I mean, it's just so Jared Moskowitz, who I keep on, telling you is amazing. He's our Congress person from Florida, right? He's like, you know what? You want my vote to hold Hunter in contempt? And remember, Hunter Biden is sitting there with Abby Lowell, his lawyer, and the other lawyer who's wearing a really bad suit. But okay. And they're sitting there listening to this, listening to all of this clown car chaos ensue simply because he walked in to their ridiculously bullcrappy contempt hearing, knowing that they have offered to cooperate with that committee and give testimony 6 separate times. But they don't want Hunter Biden to testify in public. They want Hunter Biden to testify behind closed doors because no one knows what goes on behind closed doors, right? And they can manipulate it and they can, lie to you.
I'll make this bipartisan. I'll vote for the Hunter contempt today. You can get my vote. But I want you to show the American people that you're serious. Here is the subpoena to Representative Scott Perry, who did not comply. I'd like to enter this into the record.
Yay.
Here is the subpoena to Mark Meadows. I'd like to enter this into the record, who did not comply. Here is the subpoena to Jim Jordan, who did not comply with a lawful subpoena. I'd like to enter that into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mo Brooks, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mr. Biggs, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. And here's the subpoena to Mr. McCarthy, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. There's an amendment coming to add some of those names into the contempt order. You vote to add those names and show the American people that we apply the law equally, not just when it's Democrats, right? It's a crime when it's Democrats, but when it's Trump and the Republicans, it's just fine. No, show that you're serious and that everyone is not above the law. Vote for that amendment, and I'll vote for the Hunter Biden contempt.
Beautiful. Beauty. Oh. Seriously, she's literally sitting there next to Andy Biggs, who is in contempt of Congress for failure to answer a congressional subpoena in the past Congress. And she's saying, this is you exercising your white privilege. This is you trying to be, Mr. Important white guy. Nancy, there are 2 justice systems in this country. One for the very well connected, and then one for the people who aren't very well connected, and then add the 3rd justice system in this country for people of color, and then add a 4th tier of justice in this country for people who are really poor. Okay. And you know who was having none of it? Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett was, just wow. You, Nancy Grace, are saying that, you've just noticed, white privilege in this here Congress, really?
This is something that I just can't get over. I can't get over the gentle lady from South Carolina talking about white privilege. It was a spit in the face, at least of mine as a black woman, for you to talk about what white privilege looks like, especially from that side of the aisle. And let me quote your now ousted speaker and what he had to say about the Republican Party and y'all's lack of diversity. When you look at the Democrats, they actually look like America. When I look at my party, we look like the most restrictive country club in America. So let me tell you something. Y'all don't know what white privilege looks like, but I'm gonna show you a little bit of something. You see, you want to talk about a two-tier justice system, and this is the only time that y'all have ever referenced it, when this country has a history when it comes to black and brown folk of having two separate sets of rules. And right now what you want to do is have two separate sets of rules because Mr. Moskowitz offered y'all a fair situation. He said he would vote for Hunter to be held in contempt if y'all voted to hold all, even if you remove all of the members of Congress. There's still other people that y'all haven't decided that y'all have excuses for, but y'all don't want to hold them in contempt. But for some reason, it makes sense to hold Hunter Biden in contempt, who has tried to comply.
He has 6 separate times he has tried to comply, but they don't want. And the only issue I would have with Jasmine Crockett, who is a trained professional attorney, okay, she understands the justice system just fine, and she doesn't really need any help from me. But I would like to see people who talk about the justice system being a two-tiered system of justice on the right be educated and let them know that there's more than just 2 tiers. There's about 4 or 5 of them. But that was, and then Jared Moskowitz said, hey, listen, see over there? You know what that is? That's Hunter Biden. And Hunter Biden is prepared to testify. Why don't you ask him some questions now? Why don't you just do it?
The witness accepted the chairman's invitation.
Yes.
It just so happens the witness is here.
Yes.
If the committee wants to hear from the witness, and the chairman gave the witness that option, then the only folks that are afraid to hear from the witness with the American people watching are my friends on the other side of the aisle. I don't know if there's a proper motion, Mr. Chairman, but I'll make a motion. Let's vote.
Yeah.
Let's take a vote.
Yeah.
Who wants to hear from Hunter right now, today? Anyone? Come on. Who wants to hear from Hunter?
Motion's out over. Yeah.
No one.
No one. This is such a dog and pony show. It's such a kangaroo court. And you know what? The idea that Hunter Biden, Abby Lowell, and the other attorney in the bad suit were having none of it and accepted the invitation to show up to testify today and then was turned away because they don't want it in public with the cameras on should tell you everything. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.